So all right, now let's start with another video. So in this one I thought to make let's talk about some commands, and because from now on we will be not working more, like we can still control things from the Docker, this Docker desktop, but let's have a habit of having things controlled via terminal, because that's what people, or like if you go for the job or somewhere, they will mostly prefer you to do things via command. So we will be doing that right now. And now let's so I will just try to talk about so few of the commands which I have listed, and I will talk one by one as soon as we start. Okay, so right now what we do is first and foremost, now let me just show you. Let's go to desktop, Docker desktop here. So if I talk, this was the app which we created, right? So now if I want to just show you some of the information, like if I click on this run, there are this settings which we if you remember, I didn't talk much about it, but this is what a container name is. So let's say in terminal, whenever you will be accessing it, you can access or you can reach to that particular container. Like in our case it's my app, with then with a temporary name which we will be creating here, or with an ID. Okay, but right now we can create, like if I write it, you can see here it changes the name, my app container 1. Okay, so I'm just writing it my app C1. And yeah, so this is if you remember, this option comes only once you have if I go here, only if you have written this layer that is exposed. If you don't have this, so this will not show up. Okay, let's go to Docker. So usually, like if so container port is what the container will be running, and the local host will be the one at which the local host will be running. So even if you put 5000, it doesn't matter. Mostly it's I think the local host is mostly on port 80, but even if you keep it for 5000 or 6, it's fine. But just to make sure there is no confusion, let's keep it 4000, and let's keep other thing as it is. Okay, now let's click on run. So once the container is running, you may see the green signal here, it's running. And now if I try to open this in a browser, you can see things are running quite good. Okay, now if I try to, I will just try to do things via desktop first, then we will talk about the list of commands in terminals which I told, right? So I will just try to do a stop here, and if I try to do stop, it will not stop because things are still running. Okay, so what we do is we just pause it. Okay, right now we pause it, and let's go here, containers. Okay, so if I play this again and now I stop this, this will not stop. I know the reason, but okay. So what I do now, I just stop it now. Okay, yeah, now it's stopped. Okay, see, if you see, this is the name which I talked, and this is the ID of that of the container which we are having. Okay, now let's try to control the same process, like starting and stopping of this. Like now if I try to run this, it will not run at port 4000. Okay, so now let's go to our terminal, and now let's try to talk about some of the commands which Docker has, like we will be using in the rest of the video, guys. So just please stick with this. Okay, first is, let's say whenever you want to run an image, so you type docker run, and the image name, that is let's say my app, and if you run this, it will, you can see, right, listening to port 4000. But here if you notice, my mouse is stopped and there is no way to stop it. So now if I try to run this, it is not running. I will tell you the reason why. Okay, so by default, even if it says it's listening to port 4000, but things are not running. So what I do, I create a new terminal, and here I just type docker stop my app. Okay, I just try this. Okay, my app underscore C1. Now it has stopped, and now if I see here, yeah, now I just try to refresh, it will not show up here, but here it may now see command C. Like if I try to Okay, there's a tag name which I forgot to talk, that was about like, and now I just retry it. I think Docker app is still running. Pause, stop. Okay, so it will take some time, around, it takes around 30 seconds to stop. I know, see, now it exited. Okay, so even when this stops, you can see it will not show up, like that, like you don't have. So to do that, what people usually do is, Docker run, you can give a name, Docker run my app. This was the name, right? So whenever you want to add arguments, you add in between the run and my name, the image name. So here, let's give it a name as my app underscore c2 this time. And now let's try to, like, even if we run this, so this is what we okay, what it says. Okay, there is a double quote. So first thing, let's talk about some of the arguments, like, which will be, first is name. So if I show you, now this becomes, if you see here, c1, and now this becomes c2. But if you notice, it's recreating it, and this is what we really don't want, right? So it's recreating it every time we run this command, and this is not good. So what we do is, now we click on the stop, it's running, and it will automatically stop after some time. Let's see. So stopping a Docker is really something. Okay, now it's exited. Okay, so now what we do, see, now the terminal is back. Now let's rerun the command. Now I just want to do it again, and let me just show you another argument which we are going to talk about. That one is -p. So this will actually solve, like P stands for, like, what I say, to port mapping. So this is, like I tell you, by default. So by default, this one is the local, this 4000 is the local host, and this 4000, the one which you are seeing here, is the container host. So we have to map it. Now I try to run this. So what you say, the container type is already used. Okay, so I just try to make it c3, like we will be recreating another container just to show you the demo. Okay, listening to port 4000. Now if I try to run this, now this should run via command. So this is good. So we got to know how to run this via Docker desktop, and now we got to know how to run it via the terminal. Okay, now let me just talk about some another command. So if you see here, like I tried, now I want to talk about another argument which is very special. So if you see here, the thing you will notice here is, with this you can't access the terminal anymore. You have to always open a new terminal and start working. So this is not we really want. So to solve this up, it's very simple. Now I try to Docker stop my c3. I just try to do this, and it will hopefully stop it. It's running. I think it will stop. If it will not stop, then okay, now it stopped. Now let's check. Okay, so now my c3 has been stopped. Okay, so this should be not working anymore. Okay, yep. So now let me just show you another command which is very special, that is detaching it, like to actually detach it. So instead of this, with the same thing, we have to write here there is a special argument that is called d, which represents detaching. So if I run this, I make it 4 this time because I know it will come up. And yeah, so now what I do is, now I click on enter. So this time it will now generate a hash ID, but here's the thing, it's still running. If you see here, it's still running. You're getting? So let's revise. So /d is good when you want to detach it and you want to keep things running. And yeah, and what I say, Docker run with the image name, whatever you say, and the double dash name represents the name of the container which you are creating. Okay, But now let's talk about another problem. Now if I show you the list of images which we have created, okay, so now let's stop this again. So how we stop it? Docker stop. What is the name of that? Is my app underscore c4. So now let's stop this. Okay, so we after this I will talk about some other special commands which are actually very useful, and it will help you to understand more better. Okay, so right now, to see the list of active containers which are running, so you have to type docker ps. So ps stand for the processes which are running. If I click here, right now you will see that this is the container id, then there is a node, and it's still running. Yeah, I think it's not running status, it's pause mode. Now if I see which one it's talking about, it's talking about the node latest. See, if you see node latest, it's still in pause mode. So let's stop it. Okay. Okay, so it will stop it anyway. But the thing is, let's say if you want to see all, like all the containers, now this list will be quite big. Can you see? Minus c3, c4. So the docker ps shows you the process which are active or running or paused, and this one ps dash a shows you the list of processes which are there, like which has stopped, but it's there. Okay, but now let's talk about this. While we are creating, like whenever you want to run a container of my app, when we are trying to run it with a different name, we are just creating again and again, right? So this is not what we really want to do. So let's say we want to run that my c4. Okay, so docker run not this, like let's run it docker start actually to start the container, so you don't have to recreate things. So I just type my app underscore c4. So now if I show you, you don't have to every time add the detach and all. See, it's still running. Getting? So the port mapping, what you have to do it initially. Once you have done that, you don't have to enter into that command again. So if I show you, see the command, this command, you don't have to keep on writing this again and again, because this will automatically recreate different containers which we really don't want. Okay, now let's say this will be quite like, let's go to the another thing. If I see, I've talked about docker stop also, everything. Okay, now let's see if we want to, let's say, remove a particular container. Okay, so that time we type docker rm, and you can write the name or you can write the container id also. So initially, if I remember, while I was using docker long ago, the container id was very big hash. So but the thing is, it's still a big hash, but they have shown this small thing, because see, I just show you a quick demo. So let's say if I want to remove the c4, where is c4? If I type only just say this much of it, and I press this running container. Okay, stop the container. Okay, so this one says so now let me just stop it first, docker stop, and now let me just paste this. See, so remember one thing, either you add the container id initial number. Even if I add a d3, make sure that d3 is not repeating, it will still stop this one, d348, remember. Or you can either write the names or the temporary name which we created, right? So that's how it goes. Okay, so now let me just write docker rm d348. Okay, now if I press this, it will, okay, d3, sorry, so it has removed it. So now if I try to do docker ps/a, that c4 is no longer there, and now let's check, c4 is gone. Okay, so this is all about docker, how the things are. And let's say if you want to remove all the containers at once, let's say you have created a lot of containers which I can see, and you want to remove it. So this is something which I really don't want it to do. but let's do this. So just for understanding, I'm telling it's Docker system prune, PPRUNE. So warning, don't always try to run it, but I just show you what happens. So this will remove all the stopped containers. All the networks are not used at least one containers, and not, you can see, right? So I don't want to delete this one. I want to keep a single one, so I just make sure this one is running. And now if I do a yes, now see. Okay, so now let's check. If I go, okay, so everything has been deleted. Okay, so but I still kept my app C3 just for demonstration purpose. So now I pause it, I stop it. Okay, so just for demo purpose I've kept it. So as you can see, these are some Docker commands which you really have to get used to, because this is very important. Okay, so in the next video we will be talking more about this, and so there are a few more things which we will talk about. So let's catch up in the next video, and if you have any doubts, please reply. Bye.